G'day, today I'm cooking some beef ribs. It's a nice big rack that's sitting under there, but the purpose of this video isn't about the beef ribs, it's more about the Lavalock gasket. I've been asked a couple of times by people, how's the Lavalock gasket performing? Now I've had the same Lavalock gasket on this Weber for years on end now. I can't even remember how many years it is, but you could probably go back in my videos where I did my original Lavalock gasket video and see when I posted that up, because I would have installed it that day or the day before. And people have said, well, how's the Lavalock gasket going after all these years? Well, I've had no issue. I'm now smoking these beef ribs under here. I'm on premium lumpwood charcoal, and I have put a bucket load of both cherry wood and mesquite on top of it to create smoke. And you can see from here the amount of smoke that's coming out of the vents. The only real leak that I'm getting is out of my thermometer. I don't know if you can see it, but I installed this thermometer myself. It must be a little bit loose because I'm getting a little bit of smoke coming out from around the thermometer. But from around the barbecue, there's really nothing. The Lavalock gasket's still doing its job. I've got a little bit of smoke coming out here on the side, but that's because I put a little hole in there which I used to put my temperature probes through, and I should have sealed that up a little bit better before I actually put this on to cook. And I actually should have put my temperature probes in there, but I think I'm going to do this one a little bit more by feel rather than necessarily with the temperature probes, because I'm going for a little bit more hot and fast on this one than low and slow, because I've just put these ribs on. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. We want to eat by 6. So I probably want these done within 5 to 6 hours rather than the usual maybe 10 or more hours. And then I want a good hour's resting time. So I'm probably going to try and run this based on the top thermometer at close to the 300 mark rather than the 250 to 275, which I would probably do beef ribs at. So I'm going to update you a little bit later, and we'll come back and have a look at how the Weber is going with this Lavalock gasket. And when we come back later, we'll have a peek also at how the beef ribs are going, see what the colour looks like. And then we might also have a look at the beef ribs at the end once they're cooked. But really this video is about the Lavalock gasket for those of you who wanted an update. Yes, it's performing well. If I go down here, you can see there's really no leak around the side of the barbecue, around the edges anywhere, except for where I drilled that hole for my temperature probes and around my temperature gauge. But a little bit of leak through the temperature gauge, that's no biggie, because I can adjust the vents and really take it right down. So yeah, we're getting up there now. The temp is 240-ish Fahrenheit. We'll let this go, come back in a few hours and see how it's going. Quick update, we're 2 hours in on this rib barbecue, and we've been going low and slow now for 2 hours. We're just on 300, it's been holding perfectly there. Smoke is just about finished, all the wood chips are burnt out, so now it's just letting the heat do its thing. Okay, we're now 3 hours in exactly into this beef rib cook. If I show you the temp there, sorry, upside down, we've been holding exactly right on that 300 hour mark for virtually the whole 3 hours. So the Lavalock gasket doing a bloody great job still after all these years that it's been installed. It hasn't come off, it hasn't frayed, it's still there. So I am now going to open this up. I'm going to have a peekaboo and give my ribs a baste, show you what they look like, baste them, then I'm going to wrap them in foil because I've got probably 3 more hours before these need to be fully cooked. So I'm going to try and speed up the cooking process a bit with a bit of wrapping. Here we go. Oh, they look good. They actually look great, really getting a nice dark mahogany colour on them. Yeah, really happy with the way these are chugging along. Charcoal's doing all right. I'm going to give these a baste and a wrap. Beef ribs are coming along beautifully. It's now 5:30. The ribs have been going for 6.5 hours. So I'm thinking, I have had no probe or anything in here. I'm thinking it's time to take these off, let them rest for about an hour before we eat at 6:30. So remember, these went on at 11 AM. It's now 5:30, 6.5 hours. The Lavalock gasket has done its perfect job. It's still running there at 300, just on 300, just over, maybe 305. Let's have a look how they look and how much fire we have left. Okay, so the charcoal's down to that. Ooh, they look good, don't they? We'll get these off and we'll let them rest up. Time to come off and let them rest. Bones are popping out, it's a good sign. So here's the finished ribs. After they were wrapped, I took them out of the wrap just so that you know, and I put them back on the barbecue just for 10-15 minutes to reset that bark so that it would come out nice and crispy. The meat itself is quite tender and soft. It's got that little jiggle to it that you want. So as far as I can tell, these seem to be cooked really nicely. So we'll slice into them, and as you can see, beautiful, beautiful smoke ring there. Very juicy and red inside. The ribs have come out just absolutely perfect, and they come off the bone really easily. The colour is magnificent. Putting them back on and letting that bark reset was a great little stroke of genius, I must say, because it's really darkened them up and brought the bark back to where you want it to be. You can see here from the piece I've cut off onto my plate, the bark is nice and dark and firm, and the meat itself is really falling apart.